The transforming table. Kingdom chicks with kingdom influence. Real conversations, real accountability, real transformation. The transforming table is where kingdom women gather for bold conversations that elevate perspective, strengthen faith, sharpen character, and awaken purpose. More than a conversation, it's a transformation. It steers where authentic dialogue meets biblical wisdom. Hearts are refined and lives are positioned for greater kingdom impact here. Authenticity is celebrated. Accountability fuels growth. And wisdom has a voice. Kingdom chicks with kingdom influence are in the room. Now it's your turn. Pull up a chair, take your seat, and join the conversation that could transform your life and expand your kingdom influence.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to the function table, where every time we're going to come together and meet you. Good evening, good evening. I am so sorry. It seems that I'm having some technical difficulty on this evening with my internet. I'm not understanding what's going on, but nonetheless, we're going to move around.
I pray today's conversation gave you something to carry, something to think about, pray over, and live out. Because real transformation doesn't happen all at once. It happens one conversation, one choice, and one faithful step at a time. I'm Patrice Thomas, your kingdom. The transforming table. The transforming table. Kingdom chicks with kingdom influence. Real conversations, real accountability, real transformation. The transforming table. The transforming table. Kingdom chicks with kingdom influence. Real conversations, real accountability, real transformation. The transforming table. Kingdom chicks with kingdom influence. Real conversations, real accountability, real transformation. The transforming table is where kingdom women gather for bold conversations that elevate perspective, strengthen faith, sharpen character, and awaken purpose. More than a conversation, it's a transformation. It steers where authentic dialogue meets biblical wisdom. Hearts are refined and lives are positioned for greater kingdom impact here. Authenticity is celebrated. Accountability fuels growth. And wisdom has a voice. Kingdom chicks with kingdom influence are in the room. Now it's your turn. Pull up a chair, take your seat, and join the conversation that could transform your life and expand your kingdom influence.
change. It won't add. Good evening, and welcome to Kingdom Chicks. On this evening, we're having some technical difficulty, and somehow or another, my internet seems to be going in and out. But hopefully, it will stay on at this particular time. I am so elated that everyone has decided to join me on this evening for the transformation table, where Kingdom Chicks come together with Kingdom influence. It's more than a conversation, but it's real accountability and real transformation that we're actually going to get involved with on tonight. So I need you to pull up your chair. I need you to get your cup of coffee, your cup of tea, take off your shoes, take off your jacket, whatever it is that you need to do on tonight. I want you to lean in for this conversation that we're about to have with my guests on tonight. We're about to talk about something really big and interesting to you. When we look at the transformation table, it's just not another broadcast that we're looking to do, but we're coming together to help women to have real conversation for the kingdom's sakes. We're going somewhere in 2026, and as I've been saying, 2026 is the year that we are getting it done. I don't know what Kingdom Chick is out there, but this is the year that we're actually getting it done. Whatever it is that the Father has called or mandate for you to do in 2026, somehow or another, Kingdom Chick, you need to get that thing done. By any means necessary, you got to get that thing done. So on tonight, I am honored to have two incredible Kingdom Chicks with some influence on tonight that's going to come into the room. They both bring their unique life experience, their wisdom, their kingdom perspective. They're going to come. We're going to have some real talk. First, I want to bring in the room my sister, my friend, Nikita McKenzie. And I'm going to give all these ladies an opportunity to talk about their self. And hopefully, if my computer works along with me, I'm going to bring both of them in the room at the same time. And then we have Jennifer Harris that's in the room on today. Ladies, how are you on today?
Good evening. Good evening. How are you? We're so glad to be here tonight.
Yes.
I am so elated to have you ladies in the room. We were backstage just hearing the broadcast come on and on and on and on and on. And I was telling Jennifer before Nikita got on, I'm like, I don't know what's going on with my system, but it has been acting up since Tuesday Transformation Tidbits, where it kicked us out on Tuesday. Now it's kicking us out on Thursday. I don't know what's going on, but nonetheless, ladies, I am elated for you to be with me here on tonight on my first transformation table. Many may come after you, but you ladies were the first one to come on today. So I am happy to have you here. You ladies have blessed me in so many different ways. And I feel as though that this was a keen opportunity to get up here and just have some talk on tonight. We just want to talk about some stuff. We don't want to go deep, but if we got to go deep, we can go deep because we can swim. Whatever it is that we need to do on tonight, that is exactly what we're going to do on tonight. So before we get started, I just want you ladies to tell my audience a little bit about yourself. Any one of you can go first.
Jennifer, you can go first. I'll let you go first.
Gotcha. It's going to be short and simple. My name is Jennifer. I'm excited to be here. I am an advocate. I love real conversations because sometimes I feel like we gloss over some stuff, right? But when we get to the heart of it, we can really help somebody, not cover it up. All right. So I'm excited for the night. I'm excited for you all joining us, and let's get to it.
So Jennifer, where are you from? Who are you?
Yeah, Jennifer. It's from the Philadelphia area. And again, just about trying to just help connect people with services, all about normalizing the importance of addressing mental health because we're going through those things, life be life, and but sometimes you need to talk to somebody. So we're always about trying to push that forward, connecting with resources, the social work and therapy background. I'm just trying to be a servant to help somebody, reach somebody to have a better tomorrow.
Okay, Nikita, you up, sis?
Yeah, hi everybody. My name is Nikita McKenzie, and I am so excited to be here with my sis. And I'm glad to meet Jennifer for the first time. So we just gonna rock it out tonight. But I am the founder of I Am She, Someone He Empowered, which is a nonprofit organization that supports women navigating life transitions. And so I'm also a transformational coach. So a lot of what I bring to this audience tonight is from my coaching background and my history with empowering women. So I am grateful to be the first here tonight with you to open up this platform that God has given you. So thank you so much for having me.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So yes, this is my first one of many, and as many of you will find out, that the transformation table will be coming on every third Thursday of the month at 7 p.m. And we will have different topics that we're going to go over, but we mainly want to sit back and we would just have conversation on this morning. So I want to encourage anybody who's a kingdom chick out there. If you have something you want to post, drop it in the comment section. If you have something you want to say, if you want to say kingdom chick, you just said that, do that. Whatever it is that you need to say, we're going to ask you to drop it in the comment sections on today. We're going to get started. Our topic that I chose for the first one to start out is really something basic. We want to know who is sitting at your table. Many times we do many things, and many times we look at a table and we're not talking about really the wooden table. We're not talking about that glass dining room table we have. We're not talking about, that golden dining room table, that dining room table that's in the dining room that you can't sit at, but you got to sit at the kitchen table. We're not talking about those type of tables on tonight. We're talking about who are the people that are close to you. What voices or whose voices do you trust? We're talking about relationships. What relationships you are? Who is nourishing your relationship? Who are the people that are influencing your decision, your character, your future? Better yet, who is it that you take out to dinner? Because we'll go to lunch with anybody. But who is it that you find close enough in your inner circle that you'll go to dinner with? So that makes a difference, because when we talk about going out and who's at my table, I don't go out and dine with everybody. There's some people who are just my friends and I'm good with you. And then there's my sisters that I go out when I got a problem. I'm like, darling, yo, we doing dinner tomorrow at this time, and this is where we need to meet. We show up at a place. Why? Because I need to be able to have my inner circle, and my inner circle is on tonight. I need to be able to have my inner circle to hear what I have to say. Not only hear what I have to say, but hey, jack me if I need to be jacked. Tell me what I need to be done. So it comes to who's actually sitting at your table, who's important enough to you that you can invite out to dinner. Because remember, lunchtime for most of us that work, your coworkers or anybody can go to lunch with you because you got to be back at a certain time. But sometimes at dinner, you out there. And now breakfast seems to be the big thing too on the weekend. So I don't go to breakfast with everybody either. So who is it that you sit? Because I want to make a declaration. Not everyone should have access to your life.
Yeah.
And it's not everyone that does have access to your life that has been assigned a permanent seat in your life. So when we're asking you who's at your table, who is the one that has the permanent seat? Who is the one that you talk to? Because once again, I'm going to put this out there. Sometimes when we go out, do you invite anger out with you? Do you invite your pride out with you? When you're going out to dinner, do you invite your low self-esteem out with you? When you look at, are you inviting jealousy out with you? Are you inviting dislike with you? And then let's talk about who's going to take care of that bill. Is it complicated? Who's going to take care of that bill? Because complicated will call you and ask you, can we go to dinner? And then is he complicated that's taking care of that bill? Is it the baby daddy that's taking care of the bill on tonight? We got to decide when we start talking about kingdom influence. Who is it that's influenced our life? Because better yet, is it accountability that's paying for the bill on tonight? Is it the healthy boundaries that you should have set before you accepted the invitation for dinner that's paying the bill tonight? So ladies, when we get involved on tonight, my first question that I want to come out to you, and I want to ask you, who's sitting at your table? Who you going to dinner with tomorrow, sis? Anybody can pick it up.
So I will say this. Anyone that knows me and truly knows me knows that I do not go out anywhere with everybody. When they call and they like, oh, you want to go to dinner, I need to know who else is going. That's always my first question, who else is going? Because I have learned, and this is something learned, I wasn't always this way, but I have learned to be very intentional about who I sit at a table with, whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And so depending on what I am trying to accomplish or where I am emotionally or what may be going on in my personal life at the time, that plays a factor too in who I may be out with, because people hold different places in my life, right? And so when you get mature enough to understand that I might have somebody that is a person that I solely pray with. I might have somebody that I call for counsel. I may have somebody that I call just that I vent to, somebody, you know what I mean? So people hold different spaces in my life. And so I have learned how to kind of compartmentalize people so that there is a benefit to this relationship. It's not just, you know, a one-sided type of thing, but I know that I am in the room with people that are meant to be in space with me. It matters who you're in relationship with. I use a lot of times the scripture in the Bible that talks about being unequally yoked. And I know a lot of people reference it pertaining to romantic relationships, but I have digged deeper into it enough that I am able to apply that even to my friends, like my real relationships outside of romanticizing it. So if we are not equally yoked in some area, then you're not sitting at my table. Does that mean that I have no type of interaction with you? It doesn't mean that. But again, learning how to compartmentalize means that I have to be very intentional about who's sitting at my table.
That's truth. I like that. And I like the word because my word for this year in 2026 is being intentional. What are we intentionally doing when it comes to the kingdom sakes? Because we're kingdom influencers. So no matter where you go and who you're with, even out to dinner, even out in the opening, you're still influencing someone's life. So Jennifer says, who you go? Who's at your table?
Who's at my table, right? So there's some givers at my table, right? There's some takers at my table. There's some encouragers at my table. There's some supporters at my table. There are some accountability partners at my table. And, you know, it's a love-hate relationship sometimes with that, but we also need that because if they're holding me accountable, I have put them in a place to hold me accountable, and they're doing it out of love to help me out. But the other part about it was about a permanent seat, right? And they don't always have a permanent seat per se, but every so often I need a taker because I then, you know, be reminded that I have to guard what I have. I can't just give it out to everybody, right? I can't always have a giver because after a while I'll get so dependent on them, and I gotta also be independent to stand on my own. And then the flip side of that, of the people at the table who I hope to be at the table, is some people that can cover me and cover themselves. Because as you said, when that check comes, people get quiet, right? But I need you to be able to cover me if I ain't got it, and I need to be able to cover you if you ain't got it, or we can split the check. I got some friends we fight over that check, okay? But that's the love that we have for each other. We looking out for each other. We making sure that there is no lack. Those people that go out and they want to chump change, no, I had what was $12. No, what I had was $15, and it was supposed to be $40 per person. We came out, we had the mission. So I don't always want those people at my table because you know. Those people that are open to trying something new are at my table, right? Because we can't be boxed in. We can't keep on doing just the old things. Those people that not going to complain about everything. My food came out and was bad. Don't do that, because then they're going to jack up my food, and I don't like that, you know? The other part too is like, if it's some new people at the table that I don't quite know, I'm reading the room, right? And I'm slow to speak, you know? So I'm being mindful whether I know the people or don't know the people. For sure, when I do know the people too, because you got to gauge, do they have the capacity to even take what I came to the table to bring, you know, to share, to let off, you know, things of that sort. And those that I don't know, how much of my business you going to go and tell somebody else? So
I'm
my
going here.
is very diverse. using discernment to be aware of who is there, who's not there, how many times they do show up, because sometimes they get invited to the table and they keep on not coming. After a while, we got to say, all right, I got to let you go to be able to let other people come in. So I'm excited about being mindful and being intentional as I reflect on who's at my table. I also do a review every so often to know who needs to leave the table and maybe who I now need to bring in. It's a revolving door sometimes. Some people can stay in that permanent. Could still be a season, a moment, or a lifetime. I got to know when their season has ended. So yeah,
I think that's a good point. You said knowing when someone's season has ended and knowing the purpose why they're there. One of the key things that we try to do is we look a lot of times for people to be at our table that's going to validate us. So we're not really honest with the people that we're going out. I like what you said. Every now and then you got to check it out and you got to find out who's there. You got to check the temperature of your table. One of the key things that I like, what really makes me sick is when we go out as a group and now the check comes and you want to sit there and itemize the check. No, if it's 7 of us, we're splitting this check 7 ways. It don't matter if you had the biggest meal on the menu this time and I had nothing but water. Next time it might be reversed, but we're going to split this check 7 ways. And I always say, if you're not willing to split the check, I know that you're somebody that I don't need to go out with again. So I'm checking your temperature to find out if you can, because even if you don't have it, since I ain't got it, all right, I cover you this time, so, but if I'm covering you every time, check marks the spot. So pretty much as we go. So, are you looking for somebody to validate you, ladies? Or are you looking for somebody who's going to transform you in your relationship? Or have you confused history with healthy relationships? That's the question for you.
So I want to just get on this piece because I'm not trying to bash nobody on tonight. That's not what we're doing when we said it's like the check-in is like a split for 40 per person and we do that and people nickel and diamond. I do get that it's not always in your budget, but just communicating, right? Communicating that it's not in your budget. You're not shaming nobody. If that's your situation, that's your situation. But also, if they're a permanent person, we already know that's what they're going to do at the table. So we already know how to cover the bill and things of that sort. So all love, friends, all love. So the question is about the validation and transformation. That validation, the process of proving, right, or verifying and things of that sort. It was funny before coming on, we were talking about just being real. I was like, that's all I could be, right? So in that validation, you're always going to get Jennifer as Jennifer. I went to an event recently and I texted her and I was like, I don't feel like socializing right now. I showed up to support, but I did not feel like socializing. So I had to take a moment to get myself together. And their comment was like, get it together, or like all these different things. I also got to be honest with myself. So in my validation, I got to be who I am. I get you telling me I got to show up, and I will, but give me a moment to get myself together. So that part of proving anything, nope, I'm going to be Jennifer today, tomorrow, forevermore. But I do like that transformation piece, that part of a change happen, right? Because in learning who we are, we're ever growing, ever evolving. What I liked yesterday, I might not like today, right? So a transformation comes. What I used to say, I don't say anymore. I used to probably could cut somebody out really nicely, but now I just say, have a nice day. A transformation has come because my name is on the line, who I am is on the line. And I don't want to be that person that comes off as, however that could come off to somebody. I want to come off in love and things of that sort. But then the other part of the question was talking about that, do I confuse history with healthy relationships? Of course, mental health is my thing. So trauma happens, that PTSD happens because we think because it happened before, it's going to happen again. And that's not always the case. Other people also do transform as well, right? And it's not about the validation. It's really just being authentically you. That's what we want at the end of the day. You being true to who you are and not put on airs, just showing who you are. Because after a while, that lie is going to give up. That mask is going to come off. They joke about, going out with somebody and they got the makeup on, go swimming and see if it come off. This makeup is good. You can get in the water and it don't come off, right? So you have to see how they're responding, see how they're acting to find out who they really are, to see who the true person is. So that part of validation of just being truly who you are. but hoping that a transformation does come, because we should not be the same that we was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
Now I'm going to have
That's a good point you brought up, because someone just dropped, one of my sisters dropped in the chat. Sis, can you hear me?
Yes.
Nikita, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to say I'm going to have to answer the question a little bit back in the reverse of what Jennifer just did, because, you know, as we're talking about it, you know, more things is coming to my mind. And one of the things that I thought about in terms of being confused about history versus a healthy relationship, I don't necessarily know that it's confusion as much as I have realized about myself some time ago that I had a problem with breaking up. And so this is something that God kind of showed me about me, that, you know, sometimes when a relationship is over, you know that a relationship is over before it's over, right? And so sometimes we have a hard time with saying what needs to be said to bring a resolve to that relationship. And so I don't know that it's necessarily confusion about it, but what I have learned to do, not to kind of, I think I mentioned this before, was I reorder and restructure people in my life. And so you may not feel that anything has necessarily changed about our relationship, but I know that within myself, based on where I am in the season that I'm in, that you don't really do what I need in that season. We don't really fit. We're not really aligned. We're not really like-minded at this point in juncture in life. And so I don't necessarily cut that person off, but I restructure and reorder, you know, how they sit at my table, how often they get to sit at my table, how often they get to occupy and take up space. But I try to do it in a way where they don't really feel the effects of it, because I'm not trying to damage someone also in the process of my evolution. You know what I mean? And so that's part of how that looks for me. You know what I mean? And I know sometimes, you know, there are some conversations that need to be had when those relationships are, you know, the season is up with people, but it's not always a conversation that's necessary. So you have to be able to discern when a conversation is necessary or when you just need to allow things to take their course. Because sometimes when you allow things to take their course, people will take themselves away from your table on their own. You don't even have to move them. Because when you start to grow and evolve, they start to feel uncomfortable in your presence. They start to feel like they don't really fit with where you're going, and they'll kind of just take themselves out of the equation. And so sometimes that happens, and that has happened to me quite often as I've been on this journey of evolution. The other part is I've grown from validation to transformation. And so being a person that has to work with women who are going through transition, when you are in periods of transition, you look for somebody to validate where you're trying to get to next. And so that requires you to go through a mind transformation, a mind shift where you feel confident enough about where you're going that you don't require validation. And so everything that God has used in my life to help empower someone, there are things that I have experienced personally. So I have grown from needed validation to being in a place of transformation. And this is what I use to try to help the women that I encounter, is that you have to be confident in who you are. You have to be confident in your own identity. When a woman is going through a divorce, sometimes they don't know who they are at that moment. And so they have to rediscover identity so that they feel confident enough that they don't need somebody else to validate what their next move is going to be. So I think it's an evolution. I think I hit all the questions. I don't know. There was a lot of questions at one time.
So I like the evolution. I like that. I like the thinking that it's an evolution. I like the point of what you said. One of the things that someone had dropped in the chat, one of my sis had dropped in the chat, and she was talking about kind of on the same grounds that you guys thought. When you're pivoting to a next level, it doesn't necessarily mean that a relationship is ending. It means that you are transforming into another level. So another thing she said is that we got to recognize when relationships are shifting. One of the things as people we do, we have, and especially people who have attachment problems, we don't recognize when something is ending because there's an attachment problem that's going on within us. So
Yeah.
sometimes people who are sitting at our table, yes, their season has concluded. Rather they pivot. And when you do pivot, doesn't mean that because I'm in the season that God has shifted me in many different ways. My friends are still my friends. I may not eat with you, I may not talk to you that much, but you're still my friends. But they also recognize that there is something different that is going on in my life. So you're still at my table, but we just don't dine as much as we used to. Doesn't mean that there's something wrong. Means that God is shifting us into a new spectrum so that when we do come back, we're more fortified than what we were before. So I like that because growth comes in many different areas. So
Yeah.
when we talk about history, sometimes we confuse having a long history with a healthy relationship. So tell me a little bit, or give me an example, or tell me something that you had a long history with somebody, but it may not been a healthy relationship, but you choose to stay in that relationship. You chose to entertain that person. And what did you learn while you were doing it, or while you were staying in it, while you were maintaining it?
Jennifer, you going? I think this goes back to the point I made about having an issue with closure. So a few years ago, and I'll just make this really brief, I was standing in my kitchen one day and I thought about a relationship that kind of drifted. And I didn't want to have the conversation to say that the relationship was kind of, non-existent anymore. And as I'm reevaluating it, the person was actually angry with me. They were angry with me because I just kind of stopped having the conversations that I was having before. And they were looking for closure. They were looking for an explanation. And I could not give them one. I didn't have one to give them, honestly. But what I realized, and it took me some time, and this is why I say this is a process for me. It has been a process because it took me some time to realize that it wasn't really them that had the problem. It was me having a problem with closure and me having a problem with having hard conversations because I was more concerned about how they were going to feel about where I was going than the fact that they needed this. You get what I'm saying? Like, I didn't want to have the conversation because I'm like, okay, they're going to give me 900
Yes.
excuses about what I'm saying and why this is not true. I didn't want to make it about that. I just wanted to be able to go in the direction that I was going, but without any hard feelings. But in the way that it was done, because I did not give any explanation, and they needed it. They needed an explanation. It created some bad energy. And it took a long time for me to be able to go back and explain to them where I was at that time and why I could not provide them an explanation. But it also was a point of growth for me because it taught me how to have conversations that I did not have the courage to have. Because sometimes this is for me a moment where I struggled with choosing myself over someone else. Because when you really and honestly, truly choose yourself, you can explain that. There's a way for you to explain that without damaging another person. And so these are things that I had to grow through, right? And so this is, I think, where I learned that I actually too have reordered people, like reprioritize them. Like, you don't have the same level of access, not because you're no longer my friend, as you mentioned, Patrice, they're not your friend anymore, because they are still my friends, but because what my life is requiring from me at this time, you don't have anything that gives to that. You don't have anything to lend to that. And where I am, you don't want what I'm offering. Right. So it ain't really just about me just giving somebody else, but they don't want what I'm offering either. The lifestyle that I'm living doesn't fit them. It doesn't fit the lifestyle that they live. And so there's a transformation and a change that happens with that. But it's knowing how to nurture it so you don't damage and create wounds in people, as you grow, because I'm not to leave somebody else bleeding on the side just because I'm going to a different place. And so I had to learn. But here's the other part about this. I've had some hard breaks. I've had some hard breaks because of it, because of my inability to move on from relationships that were the season was up for. I had to have my feelings hurt. There's some relationships I'm still trying to figure out what happened because, it was a hard break. They might not have said to me, but they may have used one small thing as their reason to break up with me. And I'm not just talking about more romantic relationships. I'm talking about relationships in general, where they use one thing that you would think, as if we're in relationship together, that wouldn't break us apart. But you took one flaw of mine, or you took one thing that you may have I may have done wrong in your perspective, and you used it against me to end our relationship. Well, I had to realize too, even in that was something that God used, because the season for that relationship was up, or it was not good for me at that moment. It may be something that I come back to later, but what I ultimately had to know was it wasn't personal. That's what I had to get to, that it wasn't personal. So, I mean, it's a process for me. I'm still learning how to do it. I still struggle with closure, but this is something that I'm actually learning and working through as often as I can, or whenever the time comes up that I need to address it.
Okay. That's good. That's some good stuff. Okay, because I think we lost what you said at the latter end.
It's okay. Go ahead.
Okay. You said a piece that was good. We know when things are coming to an end, but we be trying to hold on to that person, place, or thing. And when we don't move, when we know we should have moved, sometimes it can hurt more, right? And then that can cause some hurt feelings. The confusion part comes because we have to, we meet somebody and we think that it's supposed to be for a long time. And sometimes it's for a short time. Sometimes it's a lesson. Sometimes it's a blessing. And those that say that they're a lesson and a blessing, it's a blessing when they go on about their business, right? But, it's really finding out if they are for that season, reason, or lifetime. And in the therapy world, we go with the mindset at your first session, we're already starting your discharge, right? Because one, I don't know if you're going to come next week, because we done talked about some stuff. I know it was just the intake, but we talked about some stuff and you wasn't really ready to pull back that onion. It was like, I'm not coming next time, right? So we know that people aren't always going to be open and receptive to us and who we are and things of that sort. So that's a big piece. But again, that access level 2 is a big part, to know how much we should be giving. And sometimes we're so open to give so much of ourselves, and we give a little bit too much too soon. And if people can't handle it, we're like, wait, you do that? Or da-da-da-da-da, like that. We all human, So you easing into things. And I think sometimes us not rushing, but really taking it slow to get to know the people, and the people get to know us. I was talking to her for another day. I was like, do you do such and such? She's like, oh yeah, cool, we could talk about that. But if you don't, we're not going to talk about that, because you're not going to understand what I'm saying when I talk about it. If I'm talking about the show The Child, and you never seen it, we can't talk about it to find out what you feel about with Tiff, because she's doing too much, right? So really asking those clarifying questions just to make sure you are in the same page, because that could be something that they're not even interested in, right? So also being open to that with people that are around. So again, yeah. And also asking sometimes who sent you. Because sometimes it could be too good to be true. You want to find out, how much should I give? Is this something for me? Because imitations come, distractions come, and we don't want to get caught up in those. So we have to really be in tune, not being deep, but really seeking God, right? God, if this person's not supposed to be a part of my life, now this is the prayer that Jesus answers very fast. There are some other prayers that I can ask him, and he takes his time, and we bless him. We thank you. But if I ask him, is this person supposed to be a part of my life? He's gone, right? And it's as simple as that too sometimes. And if they don't leave, God, what am I supposed to learn from this? What am I supposed to get from this? So that again, we don't get our hopes and get ourselves invested in something that is just for a short term. What I need to get, and when it's time for it to go, let it go and it go. But sometimes we want to hold on to them things because we get comfortable. It becomes our liner's blanket, So just being mindful of that, and really, having the talks with ourselves. I share often of how jobs do yearly reviews, right, to see if you're still a good fit for the job. We also need to do some reviews of people that surround us. Are they still a good fit for us? Did they season in? Again, talking about that pivot again. That's that part where we get confused, because we be like, oh no, it's good because they're giving us stuff. Oh no, it's good because they're helping us out with stuff. But is it helping you? Is it really good for you to know whether or not you should let it go or not let it go? Because sometimes, again, that dependency could be crazy. We don't want to be dependent on people, because as soon as they mess up or as soon as they don't come through, we're brokenhearted, and that's not what they were supposed to be doing in our lives.
That's some good stuff, because a lot of people are chiming in talking about that they've been in relationship, whereas that they had to let it go because God told them that you got to let it go. And that's a difficult thing. You made me laugh when you said you asked God, if this is not a relationship for me, let me know. That is so funny to me, because that has been my prayer for years. And I want to clarify something. When you ask God that, it doesn't mean that it's a romantic relationship either. A lot of times when we think about relationship and asking God, we want to go to that. But I'm talking about any relationship that comes within my life. I've learned how to say, well, God, is this something that's beneficial for me? Or is this something that's going to be a hindrance to me? When God shows me and I continue on, and then when I get all messed up and I look back, I was like, well, you kind of sort of did tell me, but you could have showed me something else to tell me a little bit more. So, but sometimes we have to realize when God speaks, we got to move too, and not be like, oh, this kind of chilly right now. Tomorrow I do it, but today I'm going to really take it. Another thing when we talk about relationships, and we're talking about who's seen at our heart table.
Okay. So sorry, but he gives us signs.
You do.
We act delirious to those signs, right? Because again, it is people, places, and things. It's jobs sometimes. The guy said, don't take that job, and you take it. You being beat up from the rooter to the cooler. I took a job one time. I felt like I was being hazed. I lasted a month. I went back humbly to the other place. Do you still have a position available? And it was still open. And God's grace is so dope like that, because he know we're going to mess up sometimes. He know we're going to feel like the grass is greener to only find out it's fake grass. You know, you got to work for your grass to be green, and you got to do that. So like when he is giving you that sign, pay attention, friends. I'm just trying to save y'all some heartbreak. And some of us is old enough to know to pay attention to these signs.
We are. We are, but do we pay? That's it. We are. That
we pay. We pay.
That was when it's green on the other side. It costs more water for that grass to be greener, and so you paying a higher price too. So when we talk about relationships or whatever, let's talk about for a brief moment some boundaries. Do we set healthy boundaries? And what does healthy boundaries really look like? And why are they essential? What are some healthy boundaries? Do we set? Do we even set boundaries? Or are we just thirsty right now in our life and we just want relationships of any kind? So I just want to keep putting that of any kind, because you can become so lonely at times until you just become thirsty. And if you call me, be like, can I be your friend? Yeah, girl, I've been waiting for you to call me to ask me, can you be your friend? Are we thirsty? Or is it a time that we need to fall back and set healthy boundaries in our lives? Do we have the power to say no? Because no is important. And I've learned that in this season. No is important. And I don't have to give you an explanation if I'm saying no. If it's no, it's no. And I've learned how to walk away after I say no. Because if I stay there long enough, now we're going to start engaging in conversation of why my no is no. So I've learned how to say, you know what? It's no, and I holler at you later. Because it's no. So healthy boundaries, the power of the no. Do we have that in relationships? Do we know where they are? What are healthy boundaries?
Child, that's a struggle. That's an everyday struggle. I think all of us will be able to relate, the three of us and some of those that are listening. When you're in like a service industry, when you're serving people, and it's hard to draw a line with healthy boundaries, because the people are always expecting something from you. There's always, I think in relationships in general, relationships are meant to be an exchange. And so it's learning that a relationship is an assignment versus a relationship, something that should be a relationship, right? Learning the difference and being able to draw the line of what my limits are, depending on whether it's an assignment or if this is really a relationship that I'm having, because a relationship is not one-sided. We know that, right? And so, although we should have some people in our lives that are takers, because that forces us, it takes us to beyond our limits. Like, you know what you can do because you have people that is constantly taking, and it requires you to pull from places that you didn't even know existed, right? It stretches you. But when you have an assignment, it's not the same. And so I have to have different boundaries and limits of what I offer, depending on whether it's an assignment for me or if it's a relationship that I'm having. And sometimes they're the same people occupy both spaces. And so this is where the struggle comes in. Sometimes it's literally an everyday struggle for me. And I have to remind myself that boundaries are meant to protect the relationships that I cherish the most. They are not meant to keep people out. They're not walls that I built so that people cannot get to me, but they are the limits that I created so that I can stay healthy in this relationship, and that I'm not stretched beyond. I can be emotionally sound. I could be, everything that I need to be to keep my cup full. Though that's the purpose of having these boundaries. But sometimes I have a hard time reminding myself. I'm just being transparent because I am a person that gives to other people often. So sometimes I struggle with what my limits are, realizing that really, sis, you don't have anything to give right now. You should really be reserving what you have to for yourself, to kind of replenish yourself, to reset and rejuvenate yourself. So sometimes boundaries are a struggle for me. Now, I'm just speaking for me, but I'm just being honest. It's a struggle sometimes.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. I think boundaries are a struggle for a lot of us, Tom, because some people pull on the strings of your heart. And that sometimes when it gets to that point, you don't know how to do it. But I'm learning to look at it and say, is it healthy for me? Or is it draining me? Because if it's draining me, now I'm not healthy for anyone else. So, and then I look at boundaries is something that also, when you have a fence that's a boundary, it keeps people in and it keeps people from becoming out. So we have to understand, do I open the gate door or allow them in, or is the gate door locked for purpose? Because you can't allow anything to distract you. And that's something that I'm learning in this season. And you can't always give. There comes a point that the well runs dry if it's not replenished. Jennifer, you were about to say something?
I'm a note taker. So I was looking into like poor boundaries a little earlier today. And what comes up is like people pleasing, right? We pleasing people and they're not even pleasing us. Because they ain't looking out for us. They was like, what can I get? What can I get? Right. Then we have that difficulty saying no, because no is a complete sentence. And we get hemmed up because we'll say no, because I got a blah, 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 blah. Right. And they'll try to work out a solution for you or to help you, and then don't come through for you. And you done did what they wanted you to do. And you still got to do what you had to do when you should have just said no and left it at that. Right. So that difficulty saying no is real. The piece of oversharing. Right. We have some poor boundaries because everybody can't handle it, right? We telling them some stuff that they can't handle. Another part of that, like emotional enmeshment, where like we're taking on the baggage, poor boundaries. I can't solve your problems. Somebody wrote a song, I want to heal you, but that's not my job. I want to save you, but I'm not God, right? So we can't take on those people baggage. If anything, we take it to God in prayer. I was talking to somebody, we talking about the phones and like you can't have your phones. I was like, well, they should be calling God first anyway, because if we talking about being on a cruise, and if you don't have the internet package, you don't have connection to anybody unless you get into like those little spots where you get it, right? And I thought it was so amazing. Nobody was calling me, nobody was reaching out. I was just enjoying life, because that part, you got to be able to have those boundaries and have some times just for you. And the other part of that is like ignoring our limits. Like we think that we could do it all. We could do it all. When I first got out of school, as I got my master's, I was doing therapy 6 days a week. Too much. to take on so many people's problems. People was really going through some things. Life was life for them. Life was life for me, and I'm trying to help them, but trying to get myself there. It was a lot going on, right? And then even if like somebody canceled on a day and it wasn't like 6 days, it was maybe 5 days, I still had to prep my mind, right, to be ready for it. So I had to know my limits of when do I need to take off, because we get PTO, we get time off, we don't always take it. And even in that too, as a supervisor, don't tell me why you're taking off, just take off. I don't care. You need to take off your time, take off your time. I got other thoughts on that, but that's the principle at the end of the day, right? Because people take off and they know they're supposed to be doing something. No, sis, come on to work. No, bro, come on, but God bless, right? The other part is like being inconsistent, right? One day we'll say, no, you can't do it. The next day we'll say, yes, you can do that. We got to be careful with that. And then ignoring our needs, the part is that we do a request, like, I appreciate if you don't do this. And if they keep on doing it, then we have to put the boundary in place. The example that my god sister, I love her. She's the MVP of my life. She has grass in her front. And people would walk on it. And she would be like, I don't want y'all walking in my grass, right? And they wasn't listening. So the boundary she had to put up was a fence. You got to put up a border, something where they really can't get in there. Now, if they get in there, they really work to get in there. Now, animals can get in there, but that's understandable. But for a person to do it, they're now invading your space. And that's another behind that boundary, right? So again, we have to be able to put that fence up, make sure it's secure in the ground. If not, people are going to keep on walking over. People are going to keep on whatever they can get over on us. I was talking to some kids, we were doing a conversation on healthy values and boundaries, or relationships and things that sort. All in all, the same thing when I talk to them. And the guy was saying, if a girl cheats on me, it's one and done. I can't take any things of that sort. So I said, so for you, if you were to do something of the same caliber, because we can't think like man, all those different things, whatever. He said, she could give me like 6, 7 tries. I said, oh, you just wanted to say 6, 7 because the song here in Philly. But you get 6 or 7 tries, times to get it together, but she only get 1. That's not a fair boundary. That's not a fair rule to have in place. And that part of ignoring our needs and limits. You can't like give somebody else more grace and then you get less grace, or you get more grace and they get less. So you got to make sure you're leveling it out to make sure it's fair for you, for your needs, because if not, you'll be sick and messed up and they out there living their life and you done kept on giving, kept on forgetting about you. And you would rather sit down on your own than allow something to take you out. You get an ailment, you can't move. It's like, oh no, I can't go nowhere. My back, oh my leg, my sciatica, all those different things. But the warning signs were coming up, but you was like, oh no, I can lift it. I can do it. You got to be mindful of what your capacity is. I got a thing, a hoodie, it says, I don't have the capacity. You have to know what your capacity is. And I can have the capacity to do stuff for me, but that don't mean I got capacity to do stuff for you. I got off and I called you on my way home. When I got home, it's now me time. Yeah. I don't have the capacity to talk to you right now because I need my me time. I'll go a whole day doing so many different things. I finally get in bed. It's now my me time. Now I got to stay up 3 hours because I didn't have enough me time. But I'm prioritizing what I need, giving myself a boundary to make sure I'm taking care of me. Because if I can't pull from an empty cup and I don't want to really pull from a half cup, because I'm going to empty out before I know it. I got to make sure I'm replenished so that you can get the overflow. Okay? Yes. Go ahead.
That is so good. And I think that's true. I think one of the key things that we don't do is we don't replenish. I think we go. We like the bunny rabbit. We keep going, we go and going. And the bunny rabbit dies, but he keeps going and going and going. And I think we do that, but I think we do it in the name of God. And I think sometimes we have to realize that it's not in the name of God, but it's in the name of you. So, and we have to pull ourselves back and we have to stop what we're doing. It's something you just said that I'm resonating with myself. There's me time that I need to have. And with me time that I need to have, I don't answer your call because it's me time. So when it becomes collective time again, I'll hit you up, but it's me time now. And you have to learn when it's me time. Well, I had to learn when it's me time, I need to do something for me. Cleaning my house is not me time. I needed to learn how to take care of my mental, to have a seat with me. So, and I had to learn all of that because I would say it's me time. I done cleaned the house. I done put the trash. I done did this, and I'm still messed up mentally. And then for some people, cleaning, washing the dishes, vacuuming, it's the therapy that you need. But for me, I need to download my mind, which means I need to take everything out of it, place it to the side, and then empty it out so that it can be filled. So we got to do some meantime. I'm going to ask you, lady, one more question because I've been just enjoying some of the responses. People are hitting me up and saying different things. One of the things that someone asked me is, what do you do when you have outgrown someone spiritually, emotionally, or mentally, but you're reluctant to release them? I'm just reading the question. What do you outgrow me? And we do outgrow people, you know, spiritually. You outgrow me emotionally, mentally, but you're reluctant to release it. What do you do?
All right, here we
I'm
go.
waiting for Jennifer to answer.
You change their access level. There are people that are in our lives that we can't get rid of. They're not going to go anywhere. They are stuck to us like glue a little bit, right? But they don't have to go everywhere with us. They don't have to know all the parts of our life. You change their access level because the seasons does change. It's not fulfilling a purpose anymore. You can still see them, say hi, bless you, love you, pray for you, tarry for you, all those different things. But when it comes to like my personal walk, the different things that I'm doing, you don't need to know that because that access is no longer there anymore. Because when we continue to give them that, they feel like we still locked and we cool. No, that bridge is now burnt. That bridge is now gone. And so many times people aren't careful and they will burn a bridge and then they try to circle back. And no, it's too late now, sunshine. I tried. We did that thing where we had a conversation. I communicated what I needed. You told me that you heard me. You tried to do better. Then I had to communicate again what I needed. You said you're going to do better. Then you do it. I can't keep going through that, right? So then I, again, consult God because sometimes God wants us to keep these people. But when he lets me release them, I'd be like, thank you, Lord, because my season is over. And now they have to go to somebody else. And my prayer then is that whoever they now get connected with, they do better, that they have learned. Because I'm a gem. You miss out on me, you miss out on a good thing. And I'm so sorry for you, but I got to keep going in this thing called life. But again, you got to do that to protect your peace, to protect your sanity. Because it's not, you're going to keep on letting them come, And then it's a domestic situation. It's a toxic situation. And then you don't know how to get out of it, you know? And it's not always easy to leave domestic situations. It's not always easy to leave toxic situations because sometimes we thrive off of it. When it's mess going on, we thrive on it. So when it's calm, it's like, well, what's happening? What is this? Embrace that. You want that. You want the peace. So again, change the access level. They don't have to know all the things of you. It's to tell some, keep some, always have some, right? And even in your friends too, it's some people that you could tell everything to. But then there's some friends you'd be like, yep, it was a good day. Somebody else you could say how good the day was because I did this, I did that. Somebody else you're going even deeper. Girl, I had a hard time doing blah, 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 whatever that is, right? So again, the access level has to change and you have to be consistent in it because if not, they'll feel like they can keep on coming back and you don't want that because that's messing you up and messing them up and confusing y'all. Then y'all got the confusion going on, right? Because like, are we friends? Are we cool? Are we not? So there, change the access level.
I like that. Change the access level. Change it. Wow. That's some good stuff, says that. And sometimes we have troubles with changing the access level because we don't remember the access code to get in it to change the level. So sometimes there's a lot that's going on. So Nikita, is anything you want to add?
I just as Jennifer was talking about it,
We can move
what
on.
I thought of, can you hear me?
Yes.
As Jennifer was talking about it, I thought about altitude. I thought about altitude because the more you grow, sometimes people just kind of fall off. And I think I've said this early on, is people can't survive. If you continue to transform and to grow and to evolve, they can't survive. They won't be able to survive the new level that you kind of acquire to. So sometimes it's about altitude because like you said, I think Patrice, you may have said this, or Jennifer, I'm not sure who said it, but some people you won't be able to get rid of. If you think about family members, there are some family members that are in your lives that don't serve you any value at all, but they are your family. and you're going to be with them every year at the family reunion. You're going to go to family dinner. You're going to do holidays. You're going to do all the things that is required of you as a part of this family. But there is no real value that that person brings. You don't cut them off and say they're no longer my family. You just continue to do you and do what it is that you need to do for you so that you can maintain and continue to grow as you do. And so I think altitude is really another, because I mean, obviously you have to change access level for some people, and that is a real thing. But there's some people that it's going to be hard even for you to do that, because they're going to be very persistent about being in your space. And so the more persistent they are, this is why you got to keep growing. You got to keep doing what you need to do so that they fall off, because they won't be able to travel with you. You know what the saying is, everybody can't go everywhere. And there are some people that will not survive the higher you go.
That's truth. There's some people that wasn't. And then we have to also realize, is this an assignment with this person? Because that trumps a lot of things. And a lot of times we have to be in tune to what the Father is saying with regards to someone. There's people that have been attached to me that's an assignment. And it's an assignment, and sometimes you can't know. And when God really revealed to me, it's an assignment, my mental changed with reference to it then. So my prayer become, God, then help me to help them. Show me how I need to entreat them. And then when that happens, things begin to open up into a broader scope. I have one last question for you ladies. This has been some good stuff, and from my understanding, people are taking notes on what you ladies are saying, to help them. So when we look at what our table reflects for our future, what does your current table reveal to you that you're heading into? What new relationship, what might God be withholding, or God beginning to open up to you? What does your current, where you are now, table reflect to you of what your future is going to be? And who at your current table that God is really dealing with you that may not be there in the next level? And what are you doing about it? But the person really wanted to know, how did you get rid of them? But I was trying to put it into more way. So what are you doing? And when people left your table, were you better off where you said it?
Yeah.
Because we may think we were better off, but maybe we aren't. And what's the impression that they left upon you? Because I believe, as kingdom influencer, wherever we walk into, we leave a lasting impression when we leave the room. Because that's just what God does. His aroma stays after he's gone. So there's an impression that we leave. If I was to ask someone what that's been in a relationship with you, because really when we're talking about who's at your table, we're talking about relationships today. We're talking about accountability, responsibility. What would they say about you as a friend? What does your future hold? And what would your friends say about you as a friend? To all my sisters that are listening on the line, that are my friends, I want you to drop some real nice things about me in the chat. No, what would your friends say about you as a friend?
Ooh.
I had a friend once, and I'm going to tell this story while y'all getting your thoughts together, because I think y'all getting out of this, but you're not. So I'm going to tell the story while you get your thoughts together. I had a friend, no longer here. I was with so that people in it, because you want all your friends to mesh. You don't want to go out with this. You want to, and sometimes you want to go out with all of your friends. And she would always say to me, I don't like her and I don't trust her to be your friend. And I was like, why? What happened? You just, you don't get it. And she was like, I don't like her and I don't think she should be your friend. And then I in the beginning, I wouldn't listen. And then we would go out and she was like, See, that's what she did. That's why I say she doesn't need to be your friend. And I had to decide, to me, why did I need her to be my someone who's been in my life a long period of time, that is truly a friend of mine? Because sometimes we can't see. And sometimes God will give you somebody to walk by with you so that they're able to see, because sometimes we're too close to a relationship. I had to learn how to listen and not think, okay, you're just being jealous because she's friends with us and she's not getting along with you. And then I had to decide for myself, well, what type of friend am I? Because sometimes we pull people to us really are. There's something about their characteristic that they possess that we see that maybe we want. And what does it reflect about your future? As a matter of fact, what type of friend are you?
I think we got a little bit of a delay. Is it delayed on our end, or was that just me?
A little bit. You want to go
Okay.
about what type of friend you are?
Oh, okay. So
Are you thinking about it? Did I get everybody pause for a moment?
I think it's a little bit of a delay on our end, Patrice, but I'll go ahead and start talking about
Nikita, I can't hear you.
You can't hear me? Can you hear me, Jennifer?
Yes.
Can you hear me, Patrice? Are you able to hear me yet?
I don't think she can.
Yeah, I don't think so. It's a little bit of a delay, and I don't know if they can hear us or just hear what she's saying live.
They should be able, if we can hear
I
each
can't
other.
hear you.
There we go.
Can you
I
hear
can't
now,
hear you.
Patrice? Patrice, are you able to hear yet?
I can't hear you.
Okay. So what I'll say is this.
I think I'm frozen.
What I'll attempt to say is
Okay, am I
this.
back now?
I'll give you a minute to try to sort through it. It must be something really good we was about to say. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can't hear.
Patrice, we can hear you.
I think my system has gone out again.
Let me see.
So, no, I can't hear. My system has gone out again.
So I think they can hear us. I'm trying to look at the comments and see. I think they can hear us though. So I'm just going to
Okay, I can hear you now.
Oh, they can hear me. So
Okay.
what I'm going to say is one of the things about the kind of friend that I am, I have a best friend that I've had since 7th grade. And when she calls me, she'll say, I'm not calling for I am she, I'm calling for Nikita. So you know what I mean? So it depends on the level of relationship that we have, how I show up for the person. And again, it depends on what the situation may be. I am a very direct friend. And I am always going to be an accountability partner. So who's sitting at my table are people that are also accountability partners and goal friends. They help me to get where I'm going, and I help them to get where they're going. But I'm also one that is going to push and encourage them. You know what I mean? We're going to make each other's baby leap. When you're sitting at the table with people who have creativity, who have, things that help you to grow and to become the version of yourself that you are meant to be, those are the people that should actually be sitting at your table. You're also going to have some people that at your table, though, that's going to agitate you. And those are the people that are going to push you to stay in God's space, to push you to overcome some of the challenges that you experience and some of those kind of things that, you need some agitators. You actually need those agitators because they remind you of the strength that's on the inside of you. right? And so I might have encouragers at my table. I might have accountability partners. I have goal friends. I have a mentor. You got to have some kind of spiritual guidance. And I am very intentional, because your connections at your table have to be divine connections. If your table is going to represent what your table should represent, it has to be divinely connected. And so I am constantly working on building my table, because I can never be the smartest person sitting at my table. There has to be somebody at my table that I can feed from and that I can grow because they're sitting at my table, that challenges me to be better, to dig deep, to work out some of the hard things, the things that I won't see unless they bring them to my attention. There is an awareness that should come from having certain people at your table about yourself. You mentioned early on about bringing pride and all these other things to the table. Well, if there's nobody at your table that challenges you in every some of these areas, then your table is not filled correctly. You don't have the right people sitting at your table. So I aspire and I strive to be the same person that I'm expecting others to be when they're sitting at my table. Jennifer?
That's good.
I don't know if
Uh-huh.
I think there was another delay. I'm not sure.
I wasn't sure she was about to say something, but yeah, in agreement with the things that you shared. Yeah, just hoping that people are being as real with me as I am being with them, not the phony stuff, just being straight shooters, helps us out just a little bit more. Again, that line, you got to keep up with that. And after a while, I quote on and I don't like it. Don't do that. But being kind, being real, being supportive, being a voice of reason, like that, for sure, having a person that's the accountability people. I think the most important part is, though, because sometimes they aren't always tangible where you can get to them quickly. But we have that phone, we have that FaceTime, we have the Zoom, we have a StreamYard where we can like connect to kind of see their face, but also being intentional to take the time to go see them, to get poured in what it is that you do need. Taking that time to, I always share too, going to a conference or workshop and things like that sort, because that way you get poured into so that you can be able to help somebody else. And that's part of your table too, because you only have but so much that you could give. So you want to be able to tap into other resources so that it's not just you. But yeah.
Is she frozen?
It's awesome. I think we're probably on a delay again, but that really awesome. And I'm at that table, and it's sis, can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
So I think okay, I think it's so important to have everything that we need at the table. So, ladies, I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm trying to make sure that I've gotten most of the people's questions that they have asked, because I think it's important for us to check our table. I think when we talk about table, we're talking about who are we encountering? Who's speaking into our life? Who's speaking into our ear? Who is the one that's giving us clarity? What are the relationships that we have? Do we have boundaries? What is our accountability? Is the people that we're connected with, are they helping us with the purpose that we're traveling to? So I want to thank you for the night, for coming on Kingdom Chicks, to have a perspective, to influence the Kingdom Chicks that we have out there that are listening to what we're saying. I want to thank everybody who's pulled up a chair tonight just to hear our table talk and the things that we're trying to say, the things that we're trying to get over, because we need to have real talk in being kingdom influencer people. We need to really check ourselves, check our relationships, check how we are as friends to somebody else. That's important. We're worried about people being friends to but how are you as a friend to somebody else? What would your friend say about you? And that's important. Ladies, before we leave, I want you ladies just to look inside And just to give the people, the chicks that are listening, just to give them a word of encouragement when we talk about who's at their table.
I can't tell it.
You can go as we close. Last word to encourage the ladies who are, to let them know that, whatever you're going through, who's ever sitting at your table, whatever you are experiencing right now in a relationship, you want to be intentional with your people that you're in relationship. Sometimes I want to say this before we leave. We set expectations on people, but we never communicate what the expectation is. And then we get hurt. But when we get hurt, that we communicate what that expectation was, or because somebody didn't fulfill our expectation, now we have an attitude with them with no communication. Everybody's not meant to sit at everybody's table permanently. Ladies, your last words.
You can go, Jennifer. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. So I would say evaluate your permanent seaters, right? Who you have now as permanent seaters, should they still be a permanent seater? Should their access level be changed? Should some people be bumped up in their access level? So again, evaluating who's around you. That part of like the season, reason, lifetime, making sure we're having that together. No is a complete sentence. After you say no, you don't have to say no more, and letting that be. So again, changing the access level, evaluating your permanent seaters, putting in place your boundaries for yourself, because it'll save you some trouble. It'll give you some peace, and we all need some peace. Take a moment for yourself. Self-care is really important, whatever that looks like for you. As she shared, cleaning up might not be your thing as a self-care thing, or it's not like a me time, but some people that is. So whatever it is for you, making sure you're engaging in it so that you don't burn out, because life can life. But I don't want you to give up on life. I want you to make sure that you're taking a pauses as needed, that you're choosing yourself, that you're choosing love, that you're choosing joy, and that you're putting in the work that you need to be the successful you that you can be.
I think Patrice is some of what I was thinking when she started talking about it. And one of the things was about us having unspoken expectations. A lot of times in relationships, we have unspoken expectations. So I want to encourage all of you, and even myself, to one, pay attention to the relationships that are happening around me. Pay attention to the shifts that happen in the relationships that we are currently in. And don't be afraid to communicate what you need out of these relationships. When the relationships aren't given what it is that you need them to give, don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be afraid to choose you. But also I want to make sure that this is done in love, because our goal is not to hurt people with our words, or we want to help heal people as much as we possibly can. And sometimes we're helping to heal them when we release them from the relationships that they feel bound to. So take inventory, as it's already been stated. Make sure that you're taking inventory often of the people that are in your circle, who's sitting at your table, and make sure that you know that who is there is really serving you, and that you are serving it, that you are being, not only just asking people to be something that you're not, but that you're showing up for them the same way that you're expecting them to show up for you.
Amen. I want to thank you, ladies, once again for being on with me tonight. And I want to thank everyone who pulled up a chair tonight to come out to the transformation table, where there's real conversation, real accountability, and real transformation. I want us to realize transformation just doesn't happen by chance. You just don't wake up and decide that I want to be transformed. I want to be transformed, but it requires us to do work. It happens with one conversation, one relationship, and one intentional decision at a time. I am Patrice Thomas, your kingdom chick, and I want to remind you to build the table that reflects a life that God is calling you for. Whatever it is that God is calling for you, whatever it is that you got to get done in 2026, I need you to build that table. Get them people around that table. Have a powwow session. Get some true people that's going to talk to you, encourage you, get you straightened out, who cares for you, who loves for you. Check out your friendship and check out the type of friend you are. Until the next time that we come together, Kingdom Chicks and Kingdom Dudes that are on the line, I'm going to save you a seat at the next transformation table, which is going to come back on Thursday, August the 20th at 7 p.m. Until then, this is the transformation table, Kingdom Chicks with Kingdom Influence. Real conversation, real accountability, and really transformation. See you then. I don't think it went out. Ladies, I think there's a delay, ladies, with it going off.
Well, let's see.
So, yeah.
Kingdom Chick, thank you for pulling up a chair and spending this time with me at the transforming table. I pray today's conversation gave you something to carry, something to think about, pray over, and live out. Because real transformation doesn't happen all at once. It happens one conversation, one choice, and one faithful step at a time. I'm Patrice Thomas, your Kingdom Chick, reminding you that your seat at this table always has purpose. So keep growing, keep choosing wisdom, keep walking by faith, and keep becoming the woman God created you to be. This is where real conversations, real accountability, real transformation become a kingdom lifestyle. Until then, keep Christ at the center, keep your heart open, and remember, your best self is still becoming.